In the dimly lit operations hall, Colonel Robert Jefferson Jr. steps forward, his voice steady but charged with tension. For 26 years, he has served the US Army, and now, for the first time, he stands shoulder to shoulder with Russian soldiers. He explains the impossible. Hidden deep within the Ural Mountains, a creature unlike any other waits. An enormous python, over 150 feet long, engineered for war. The mission is simple in words, but deadly in execution. Track it. Capture it alive. Deliver it to the United States. For the Russians, the prize is $50 million. For the Americans, a living weapon that could change the balance of power forever. Jefferson lays bare the risks. Two problems he sees immediately. He is an American officer commanding Russian men, and he is a black officer in a Russian unit where none like him serve. But the men answer firmly, "No problem, sir." The uneasy alliance is sealed. The plan unfolds with military precision. Russian troops will drive the monster from its cave, pushing it into the kill zone where immobilization weapons await. Only one truth hangs heavy in the air. Washington will pay for a live snake, not a corpse. A mistake could cost millions and lives. As the briefing ends, the room falls silent. The men know what's at stake. The countdown to the hunt has begun. Before we dive deeper into this incredible story, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. More unbelievable true-style narratives are coming your way every week, and you don't want to miss them. The helicopters roar through icy winds as the Joint Task Force nears the mission zone. Beneath them, endless forests stretch across the Ural Mountains, silent, frozen, and unforgiving. Inside the cabin, Russian and American soldiers exchange wary glances. They wear the same uniforms of war, but trust is thin, and every order comes from a man they do not fully know. Colonel Jefferson breaks the silence with a reminder: only fire if there is no other option. America is paying for a living creature, not a burnt carcass. His words hang in the air like a threat. For soldiers trained to shoot first, restraint could mean death. Moments later, boots hit the ground. The Russian sergeant, Ivan Petrov, leads his men into the forest, their breaths misting in the cold air. Weapons drawn, nerves stretched tight, they advance toward the cave where the beast hides. The tension of two nations, once enemies, now hangs on their every step. But the cracks in this alliance begin to show almost immediately. The Russians distrust the American colonel's motives, whispering among themselves about the price on the python's head. Jefferson, meanwhile, feels the weight of betrayal from his own command, already suspicious of the budget cuts and limited reinforcements. In this fragile partnership, every shadow could conceal an enemy, whether reptile or human. The forest grows quiet, unnaturally quiet, as if holding its breath. The hunters are about to discover that in this mission, allies can be as dangerous as the creature they came to capture. Snow crunches under heavy boots as the team pushes deeper into the wilderness. The air is thin, each breath leaving clouds that vanish into the freezing night. Their radios crackle faintly with Jefferson's voice, guiding them step by step toward the target. Suddenly, the cave looms before them, an enormous black mouth carved into the side of the mountain. Sergeant Petrov signals his men forward. Weapons rise, flashlights cut through the darkness, beams trembling slightly with each nervous hand that holds them. Then, the ground trembles. At first, it feels like distant thunder, but within seconds the truth becomes horrifyingly clear. The mountain itself seems to move, stones rattling loose as something massive shifts inside. The men freeze, eyes widen, fingers twitch on triggers, and then chaos. The python explodes out of the shadows like a living avalanche. Its scales shimmer in the light, thick as armor, its body stretching impossibly long, coiling and striking with blinding speed. Soldiers scream as they open fire, muzzle flashes lighting up the cavern. Bullets spark harmlessly off its hide. The air fills with gunfire, shouting, and the deafening hiss of the beast. Jefferson's voice cuts through the radio. "Hold your fire! We need it alive!" But the order is already lost in the storm of panic. One soldier is yanked into the darkness, his scream ending in a single, sickening crunch. The mission that began as a controlled hunt has turned into a desperate fight for survival. The men realize the truth. This is not just an animal, this is a weapon, and it knows they are here. The cave erupts with chaos. Dust clouds rise as the serpent's massive body slams against the rock walls, shaking the ground beneath the soldiers' boots. Men stumble, struggling to hold formation, while the snake's hiss pierces the night like a battle cry. Sergeant Petrov shouts commands in Russian, but his words are drowned by screams and gunfire. A soldier fires an RPG against orders, and the explosion lights up the cavern. The blast doesn't kill the creature, only enrages it. The python coils through the flames, unstoppable, its armored scales reflecting the fire like molten steel. From his command post, Colonel Jefferson clenches his fists. Damn it, I said alive. He knows every wasted bullet, every reckless explosion is slicing millions off the price tag. But down in the cave, money is the last thing on anyone's mind. It's survival or death. The python lunges, jaws opening wide enough to swallow a man whole. One soldier vanishes in an instant, dragged screaming into the darkness. Another is crushed against the cavern wall, bones snapping like twigs beneath the pressure of its coils. Jefferson's radio crackles again. We're under attack, requesting reinforcements. The answer comes cold and bureaucratic. Negative, no reinforcements authorized, one team only. The colonel slams the console with his fist. Budget cuts, politics, paperwork, all while his men are being devoured. He realizes the brutal truth. They've been sent here as expendables, pawns in a game where profit outweighs human life. And in the darkness of the Ural cave, the python strikes again, proving it is far more than a target. It is a predator, and every man inside is prey. The cavern echoes with chaos, gunfire, screams, the hiss of the serpent. Jefferson's men fall back, their formation shattered, while the colonel's voice blares through the radio, demanding discipline. Hold your fire. I said capture, not kill. But fear silences obedience. Soldiers blast away with everything they have, the cavern erupting in flame and smoke. The python thrashes through the firestorm, unstoppable, driving the men into panic. Jefferson knows what's happening. His soldiers are not just fighting the beast, they're fighting despair. Then comes the final betrayal. Jefferson radios headquarters, his voice strained with fury. We need reinforcements, now! The reply chills him to the bone. Denied. Resources allocated for one team only. One team. No backup, no lifeline. They were sent here to succeed or die trying. All because of budget cuts buried deep in government paperwork. Jefferson lowers his radio, rage flashing in his eyes. So that's it? 50 million on the line, and they can't spare another squad? His men look to him for answers, but there are none. They've been abandoned. Meanwhile, deep in the cave, Petrov stares at the aftermath. One of his soldiers is gone, swallowed whole. The others are shaken, some trembling, others muttering prayers under their breath. Jefferson steps forward, his voice cutting through the silence. Listen to me. You were paid to deliver a live python, not a corpse. If it dies, the price drops to 5 million. Are you ready to explain to Moscow why your mistakes cost them $45 million? The soldiers fall silent, their fear replaced with cold realization. This mission is no longer just about survival. It's about money, betrayal, and a weapon too powerful to control. And in that darkness, with bullets useless and trust shattered, the python waits, ready to strike again. The survivors regroup outside the cavern, faces pale, uniforms torn, and nerves on the edge of breaking. Colonel Jefferson paces like a caged wolf, his voice sharp and unyielding. Listen carefully. Washington doesn't want a corpse. They want a weapon. Alive, this creature is worth 50 million. Dead, it's scrap, 5 million at best. The numbers hit like bullets. Soldiers glance at one another, realizing the stakes. For the Americans, it's about power and military dominance. For the Russians, it's about money, enough to fuel an army, rebuild bases, line the pockets of generals. Everyone has something to lose if the serpent dies. Petrov growls, his frustration boiling over. That thing killed my men. You want me to treat it like a prize animal? Jefferson steps closer, unflinching. I want you to treat it like your paycheck, Sergeant. One wrong move and you lose everything. As the tension crackles, a grim truth surfaces. The Python isn't just a monster. It's an investment, a project born of secrecy, science, and greed. Rumors spread quickly through the ranks that it was engineered to survive bullets, designed to be unstoppable. An apex predator crafted in a laboratory. The men begin to understand why it must live. Not because it's unique, not because it's priceless, but because somewhere in the shadows of politics and war, powerful men see this abomination as the future of combat. Jefferson tightens his grip on his rifle. His soldiers may see the Python as a nightmare, but for his government, it is $1 billion dream. And he will make sure it lives, no matter how many bodies it leaves behind. The convoy rumbles through the frozen forest, headlights slicing through the mist as the team approaches a forgotten Soviet bunker. On paper, it is nothing more than a decommissioned facility. In reality, it hides what remains of the mission. The gates stand open. No guards, no lights, no sound, only silence, too much silence. Jefferson raises his hand. Halt. Petrov signals his men to fan out. Their boots crunch softly in the snow as they advance, rifles raised, nerves stretched to the breaking point. The bunker looms before them, its walls scarred, doors hanging from twisted hinges as if something enormous forced its way out. Inside, the air is heavy with smoke and dust. Shell casings scatter across the floor. Bloodstains mark the concrete, but no bodies remain. Radios crackle in static as soldiers whisper their reports. No movement. Place looks abandoned. Signs of a fight. Then, a sound. A metallic clang echoing through the empty corridors. The men freeze. Fingers tighten on triggers. Shadows ripple across the walls, too fast, too large to be human. One soldier dares to step forward. His flashlight beam cuts through the gloom, revealing a crushed helmet, deep bite marks tearing through the steel. The sight steals the air from their lungs. Whatever happened here, no one survived. Petrov mutters under his breath, "This is no mission. This is suicide." And in the silence, the truth settles over them like a shroud. The Python has been here. It is still close. And every step deeper into the bunker brings them closer to an ambush they cannot escape. In the dim light of the bunker, tension snaps when Larson finally speaks. Until now, he had played the part of a hired operative, calm, resourceful, but strangely secretive. Now, with soldiers staring at blood-stained walls and whispers of the creature circling them, the truth spills out. You want answers? Fine. I'm not just a courier. I'm CIA. And that thing you're chasing isn't a wild beast, it's ours. A prototype. A weapon. The men freeze, disbelief etched on their faces. Jefferson narrows his eyes. A weapon? Larson nods grimly. Genetically engineered, intelligent, resistant to bullets, built to survive anything. It was meant to be the perfect soldier. Only bigger, hungrier, unstoppable. The silence is broken only by the distant drip of water echoing in the bunker's corridors. Larson continues, his voice low, steady, almost haunted. He tells them of Ruby, a small American town erased from maps. Years ago, the same Serpent crashed during a transport mission. It escaped, devoured civilians, slaughtered soldiers. Larson was there. He saw it. He barely survived. We killed it, or thought we did. But this one, this is its twin. Another experiment. The Russians curse under their breath. Jefferson's jaw tightens, fury burning in his eyes. So this was never about a mission. It was a cover-up. Larson doesn't deny it. Washington wants DNA, proof the project still works. After that, we're expendable. They'll wipe this place off the map, no witnesses. The weight of his words sinks in. Betrayal from above. Lies on every side. The soldiers look around, realizing they are no longer hunters but bait, trapped between a monster designed to kill and a government willing to bury them all. And in the suffocating darkness, a distant rumble shakes the bunker. The Python is moving again. The experiment is far from over. The bunker trembles. dust sifts down from cracked concrete as a deep guttural hiss rolls through the corridors. Soldiers whip their rifles around, searching the darkness, every shadow alive with threat. Then it strikes. The python bursts through a collapsed wall, its massive head snapping down with bone-crushing force. A soldier vanishes in an instant, dragged screaming into the coils. Gunfire erupts, deafening in the narrow halls. Muzzle flashes strobe against steel walls, but bullets ricochet uselessly off armored scales. Jefferson shouts for restraint, but panic has consumed the men. Grenades detonate, smoke fills the air, and in the chaos, comrades fall beneath friendly fire as much as the serpent's fury. The bunker becomes a slaughterhouse. Larson pulls Jefferson and Petrov into cover, his voice sharp and urgent. Do you see now? You can't kill it. It doesn't just survive. It adapts. The more you fight it, the stronger it becomes. The python barrels through machinery, tearing down walls like paper. Sparks rain down as cables snap, illuminating the beast in flashes of firelight. Its eyes glow with a predator's intelligence, tracking every movement, every heartbeat. One soldier freezes in terror. The serpent lunges, jaws snapping shut inches from his face, only for another man to shove him clear, sacrificing himself in the process. Bones crunch, and the man is gone. The survivors retreat deeper into the facility, chased by the relentless monster. Every corridor becomes a trap, every corner another chance to die. The mission has unraveled. Capture is impossible. Escape uncertain. Survival unlikely. And as the doors slam shut behind them, Jefferson realizes the horrifying truth. The python isn't just unleashed, it's learning, hunting smarter, faster, and deadlier than before. The survivors regroup in the shattered command room, faces pale, bodies shaking, the echo of screams still haunting the corridors. Jefferson slams his fist against a broken console. We're running out of time. Reinforcements aren't coming. If we stay here, we die. Larson pulls a scorched map from the wall, his finger tracing to a maintenance shaft blocked by fire. There's another way out, west corridor, but the flames won't clear on their own. We'll need C4 to blast through. Silence falls. They all know what that means. Someone has to make the run back to the supply truck outside, through the same halls where the python hunts. Nalia, her vision still blurred from the serpent's venomous mist, steps forward. I'll do it. I can fit through the ducts. You can't. Her husband, Duar, grabs her arm, desperation in his eyes. No. If you go, you won't come back. She meets his gaze, her voice steady, resolute. If I don't, none of us will. The room erupts in argument. Jefferson demanding discipline, Petrov cursing under his breath, Duar begging his wife to stay. But the decision has already been made. Nalia takes the detonators, her hands trembling not from fear, but from the weight of sacrifice. Jefferson looks at her with grim respect. You realize what you're doing? She nods. I'm doing what your men won't. I'm doing what's necessary. As she crawls into the duct, the silence grows heavy. Every scrape of her boots echoes like a countdown. Behind her, Duar whispers a prayer. Larson watches with cold eyes, calculating every move, while Jefferson steels himself for what's coming. For the first time, the mission is no longer about money, or orders, or governments. It's about survival, and survival now rests on the shoulders of one woman crawling through the dark with a monster waiting somewhere ahead. The radio crackles with a cold bureaucratic voice from command. Operation cancelled, no retrieval, eliminate all witnesses. Jefferson's stomach sinks. The words confirm his worst fear. The mission was never about capture, it was about control, secrecy, and silence. And now, silence means their deaths. Alarms begin to howl inside the bunker. Overhead, the rumble of engines shakes the walls, aircraft circling, ready to strike. Larson curses under his breath. They're going to bury this place. Wipe us out with the snake. The soldiers look at one another, rage replacing fear. Petrov spits on the floor. They used us, fed us to their monster, and now they want to burn the evidence. Meanwhile, Nalia's voice whispers through the comms, strained but steady. I have the C4 almost back. Every word is a lifeline of hope, but time is running out. Jefferson does the math in his head. Aircraft overhead, missiles ready. Less than an hour before the sky falls on them. His men are battered, outnumbered, and trapped in a maze with a beast that refuses to die. And now their own governments want them erased. He grips his rifle tighter, voice iron hard. Then we fight. Not just the snake, not just the bunker. We fight the betrayal. If they want us silenced, they'll have to kill us themselves. The ground shakes as the python barrels closer, drawn by the noise and chaos. Above, the engines roar louder. Below, the detonator ticks in Nalia's trembling hand. The countdown has begun, not just to annihilation, but to a final stand. And every man and woman in that bunker knows only sacrifice will decide who, if anyone, makes it out alive. The bunker is collapsing into chaos. The python smashes through steel doors like paper, its massive body writhing down the corridors, closer and closer. Overhead, the thunder of aircraft signals the end. Missiles ready to erase the entire site. Nalia bursts through the duct, clutching the C4. Her face is streaked with soot, eyes burning with determination. Jefferson seizes the charge, barking orders with renewed fire. "West corridor, now! That's our only way out!" They race through the smoke-filled halls, gunfire echoing behind them as Petrov and his men hold the Serpent at bay. One after another, soldiers fall, their sacrifice buying precious seconds. Larson lingers in the shadows, torn between duty and survival, his radio hissing with commands from a government already erasing his existence. At the west wall, Jefferson plants the explosives. The timer beeps. Everyone dives for cover. Then a thunderous blast rips through concrete, flames tearing a hole wide enough to escape. But the python is faster. It surges through the smoke, jaws snapping shut around one of the fleeing men. Duar shoves Nalia forward, screaming at her to run as the beast coils around him. She fights to reach him, but Jefferson drags her through the opening. "If you go back, you both die." The survivors stumble into the freezing night air, the forest lit by the glow of the burning bunker. Behind them, the serpent roars, trapped but alive, its shadow writhing in the fire. Above, the sky splits open, missiles streak downward. The ground erupts as the bunker vanishes in a storm of fire and steel. The shockwave knocks the survivors to the ground, deafening silence following the blast. When the dust clears, only a handful remain: Jefferson, Nalia, and a few battered soldiers. Larson is gone, swallowed by either the flames or the serpent. The mission is over. The price of betrayal has been paid in blood. But as Jefferson stares back at the inferno, a chilling thought grips him. The python may be buried, but experiments like it never truly end. Somewhere in another hidden lab, another monster may already be waiting, and the world will never be ready.